First off, let's make sure that you can hear me. Just having a little bit of fun there. I'm checking everything here, checking the list. I don't have my trusty assistant Chris with me today. So I'm flying solo, and that's okay. I like that. I'd prefer him here, actually. But we're having a good time here. I've got my monitor on. I'm going to be looking at questions. And for some strange reason here... oh, I know why. I've somehow made this video private. We need to not do that. Okay, so here on YouTube, we're not live. We're set to private right now. So here we go. We're making it public right now. Big, fat mistake. So we should have our YouTube kids coming in here in just a minute. And on Facebook. So you watch where you want to watch, but just to let you know, I'll be bouncing back and forth between both, okay? All right. Bear with me for just one moment while I get my screens and everything up and running here because... There we go. Okay, I'm seeing you beautiful people. Yay! Okay, so on Facebook we got Deborah and Varu, Elizabeth, Ron, Jay, Jeff, Luke, Mike. Hello, everybody. Good. Audio and video delay is on too. So you're saying, okay, so somebody else is hearing me loud and clear. So Elizabeth, when I hear one person has it right, can hear me right, and somebody else can't, it's probably on your end because it's either it's either going to work for some people or everyone, or it's only going to, or it's not going to work for anybody at once. So it's probably on your end there, but nonetheless, hey, Mike in Pensacola, I was real close to you just a couple days ago. I was actually in Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa, Florida. One of my favorite places. Destin 30A area. Okay, there we go. And here's our chat on YouTube. And here we go. So let's get into it. We're going to have a lot of fun here today, my friends. And here's how it goes. I'm going to be taking your questions, but first I'm going to be talking about using scales over chord progression. So like I did just now, someone said, how do you get your playing so smooth? Thank you so much. First off, it just looks like Jackie Chan. Okay. How do you get your playing so smooth? Really nice. Thank you so much, Jeff. It's practice, and the more you practice, the better you get. I know that sounds like just an easy answer, but that honestly is the truth. My camera's all out of wacky here, isn't it? Sorry. I know that's unprofessional, but I like things to be nice for you guys, okay? How do you get your playing so smooth? Well, you do lots of practice. You practice a lot, and there's bits and pieces to know, and today we're going to be talking about part of that. So like not hitting wrong notes, that's part of making things smooth. And then bends and inflection, right? So there's lots of different bits and pieces there. But let's get into we're going to get into the nitty gritty here in just a moment. And really quick, just to tell you, I'm going to be giving this lovely guitar away on November the 4th. We're going to have a big live broadcast again, the big one, right, where we have thousands of folks in the program, or in the live broadcast. And we're going to be talking about, I'm going to be showing you the 5 steps to playing thousands of songs. Now, to some of you listening right now, you're like, oh, I know what you're talking about, Eric. I pretty much can play thousands of songs now. So half of you are probably like that already, and the other half don't believe me. So anybody who's listening right now, if you understand my methods and the way that I teach, let somebody else know that this is true, because I know for some folks they're going to be like, I don't even believe that. But yes, I can show you 5 steps, and if you do those 5 steps, and they're not giant steps, they're small steps, And if you do those one at a time, it will graduate you to being able to play thousands of songs. It's no exaggeration. I wanted to say millions of songs, but I knew people wouldn't believe me there, so I have to say thousands, but literally millions of songs, okay? So that's what we're going to be doing on November the 4th. Write that down. Better yet, in the description of this video, you're going to see something that says YourGuitarSage.com/live. Click on that. Open it up in another tab while we're talking here. And go there and enter. Well, basically, if we don't have everything up and ready for you to be entered into the contest quite yet, then you'll get an email when we do that. But we're frantically working like busy bees here. We got a new website going and a bunch of other stuff. Okay, let's dig into this. Oh, and real quick, for those folks that share this, we're going to do two giveaways today. I'm going to be giving away an ebook bundle, so it's going to have guitar, basically Guitar Mastery Simplified, except they're in an ebook form. So it's ebook 1, it's the Ultimate Guitar Guide, and then the Advanced Guitar Guide with blues, and then Ukulele Mastery Simplified. 3 ebooks I'll be giving away to one lucky winner today, and then also somebody else is going to win a DVD from me of the Nashville Number System and my CD. I'm going to sign both of those and send those out in the mail. So if you want those, just look in the description of this video on how to win that. But basically, you're going to share this video in some way or form or fashion. Share it. I love your comments, but also share it. That would be great. And I'll be doing those giveaways at some point today. Probably at the end of the day, maybe tomorrow, but 2 winners. We're giving stuff away all the time, friends. All right, let's get into it. How to use scales over chord progressions, okay? So I got a lot of reverb on that because I like that. That's part of that smooth sound, right? Take that reverb off, where'd the magic go? It's not as beautiful, right? So there's all bits and pieces. There's tricks, and there's pedals, and there's scales, and there's knowing how to work around your scale, and there's inflection, and there's bending into the right pitch, and all, okay? But what we're going to be talking about is starting off with the main recipe. So like when I think about cooking, I see chefs do this all the time. Listen, because this is important. I want this analogy to ring home with you, right? I see Top Chef, and we watch these shows, me and my wife, all the time, and they're cooking the crap out of this food, right? They're really cooking really good sauces and good tasting bits and pieces, right? And they're using ingredients that more than half the time is not organic. And I think, how in heaven's name can you be a great chef and not use everything organic? I mean, it's better quality stuff. It doesn't have pesticides. It's going to taste better. The whole 9 yards, right? It's grown better. It's better ingredients. Similarly, with the guitar, if we are starting off with good ingredients, with good notes, with good chord progressions, with good scales, and what I mean by that is good is appropriate to each other, and just appropriate. You're probably not going to use the Hungarian scale when you can just use the major or minor scale or the blues scale. There's a reason why there's less than a handful of scales that always come up to the top, and people use them all the time, and they don't really use the other hundreds and hundreds of scales that are out there. There's reasons why. It's because they just don't sound as nice as these proven ones do. Okay. With that being said, that's all we're going to look at today. Is we're going to look at the stuff that's used often and people get the most out of. Okay, if you want to go down that rabbit hole of Hungarian minor, diminished, this, that, and the other thing, that's fine and that's great. But chances are you're not going to find the magic that you're looking for. Okay, start with the simple things. If you can't do the simple things first, complicating them is never going to help you. Okay, if you're a juggler and you can't juggle 3 balls, no amount of ego is going to help you juggle 4 or 5 balls. Drop it down to 2, get 2 down, then work on 3, and so on. I know, simple concept, but no one does this. Very rarely do people do this when they're playing guitar or they're learning songs, okay? A lot of times they just go to the hardest thing and they wonder why it is that they're having a hard time, okay? So let's get into it. So ingredients are important, right? So in this case here, we need to talk about the scales and the chord progressions and the types of, and the genre and those sorts of things. So really, what I did for today is I broke this down into 3 basic steps, okay? And really, we're going to add more on top of this to make this sound right. But the first thing is to find the tonal center of the chord progression that you're working with. Okay. For those of you that don't know what the tonal center is, it's the one note that all the other notes revolve around, kind of like the sun in the center of the solar system. Okay. You got the sun in the center, all the planets revolve around it. Okay. The sun is king. Okay, in our solar system at least. So similarly with music, we've got this one note that's in the middle, or the one note that everything points back to, gravitates to, resolves to, everything else. That's called the tonal center. And all the other notes kind of dance around it. And you may not perceive this, just like if you walk outside today, you might not perceive that the sun's in the center of our solar system. But scientists believe that this is true, and we believe them too. So similarly with music, you may not in the beginning understand how to grab the tonal center, how to know what that tonal center is. I'm going to show you today. And that's going to be our first step. Okay, so let's just get into it. How to get to that first step. So the tonal center, you could think of it like the title of your song or the thesis of a speech. It's done at the beginning, it's done at the end, almost always. And then all the other supporting statements or lyrics in a song are going to support what that main title is. That's if you're doing it correctly, right? If you're not doing it correctly, then that's going to be incorrect. Sorry, adjusting my mic. So, how to do this? Well, a lot of times the very first chord of a song is going to be your tonal center. So if it's that first chord is our tonal center for this chord progression, okay? Now, we know it's a B. How do we know that? Because you've taken me up on my free course, the YourGuitarSage.com/30, and you know that this note right here is a B because you can go A sharp, B. If you haven't taken that free course, it's in the description of this video. So there's a B. So that's number one. Step one is the tonal center. B is our tonal center. Okay? Now, you can find this in several different ways. The first chord of the song or the chord progression. Oftentimes the last chord of the song or the last chord of the chord progression, but usually the last chord of the song, because here's the last chord of the progression. Actually, in this case, it is a B minor, but if it didn't do that, then that wouldn't be true. But let's say we're getting to the end of the song, it goes, when Pink Floyd ends this tune live, they go, and they hit that big fat B minor chord, so you know we're done. It's time for you to clap, go get your popcorn, go do all that stuff, right? That's the time. So we know, you're not gonna go and pee when it's... Because David Gilmour's rocking out with his socks out, and you're gonna be like, whoa, 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 I'm staying. It's not the end of the song, but when it comes... All right, and that's our tonal center. So look out for that. At the beginning of a song, at the end of a song, you'll usually hear that emphasis. Okay, that emphasis at the end of a song, at the end of a chord progression, a song. Similarly, when we're talking, we'll say, and that's my final word about it. And you just stop there. And the way that you're talking is going to say you're done, or it's a question mark, or something like that, okay? So be listening to that. And the only way to listen to that is to take some songs, listen to them, preferably some more simple songs, like some old school country or old school Americana, rock and roll, those sorts of things. And listen. Go to the end of every song. Put up Spotify or YouTube or something, go to your favorite artist, and listen. This would be a great, if you don't know how to get your tonal center, you've got to do it. It's king. It's one of the most important things as a musician to know how to do, and it's one of the easiest things if you take a moment to do it. So pull up Spotify, pull up YouTube, whatever, listen to some of your favorite songs from your favorite artists, go to the end of the song, and if it's not a fade out, if it's a fade out, that's unfortunate because you don't know when they ended the song, right? But when they ended on that one, whatever the chord is, listen to it. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the tonal center of the song, okay? Good. Now, the other way that you can know this, which we're not going to delve into because it's would take a lot longer than the time that we have here today. But the notes and the chords, or I should just say the notes themselves, will tell you what the tonal center is, typically. Same thing with the chords, because there's a blueprint there's a pattern in the chords, in the scales, there's a pattern in the chords. I talk about this in the Nashville number system. If you want to share it and win that, then great. Then you'll know all about that. Otherwise, watch my videos on YouTube, watch the free series, and you're going to start understanding this concept of tonal center. Okay. So now we've got this tonal center, okay? In this case here, it's a B. Well, for many of you, you can say, well, I can hear right off the bat it's B minor, and that's great. And this is because your ear's getting attenuated. Ear training, anything to do with the ear, is learned. Did you hear me? It's learned. That means that's great news for anybody who sucks at being able to hear and play by ear. It's because it's all learned. So the only difference between me and you or anybody else is how much they've practiced this ear training bit to get good, okay? The more you practice, the better you get. So I can listen to this and I can say, okay, well, that's minor, obviously. But some people can't do that. So you've got to be able to say, okay, well, that's B major. So we know that right there, it's not that. It's not B major. It's B minor. Okay, so you need to be able to understand whether it's major or minor, because that's going to determine what scales we're going to use. So use a major chord over that tonal center, then use a minor chord over that tonal center. Which one sounds better? Okay, if your ear doesn't immediately tell you major or minor, then do that. After that, if you still don't know, if you're like, I just don't know, then try using a minor pentatonic scale over the top or a major pentatonic scale. I don't know those, Eric. Okay, that's because you haven't gotten the free ebook at YourGuitarSage.com. Obviously, I can't be teaching you all this stuff in a stream, otherwise we'd be here for hours right now. I know you don't have that kind of time. So you got to get these pieces that I'm giving to you for free. YourGuitarSage.com, get the free ebook. It's in the upper right-hand corner of the website, and I have like blues scales in there and pentatonic scales. You got to know how to use both of those. Okay? So, now, we got our B minor. Now watch this. According to the way that I show you how to do this in the ebook and also in the video that's on YouTube, it's called The Most Powerful Scale in the World. You can write that down or in another tab, open that up and check that out. One of the techniques that I tell you to do in there is to, when you're determining the tonal center, is that you have to use, if your ear doesn't tell you right away major or minor, you've got to use like the pentatonic scale or something to help you decipher. Okay, because the two should match. If the chord progression's minor, you're not going to use a major scale over the top of it. Okay, you're going to be using a minor scale over the top of it. Now, so if I put this chord progression on, which I know is minor key, and I use a major scale over the top of it, it's not going to sound right. So here we go, watch this. Here's major. That note's fine. Sounds terrible, right? Because it's in a major key. But if I move it to a minor key, okay, so now we can hear. Now that works over the top of it. So really, this pentatonic scale, which is super easy. It doesn't get much easier than this, actually. Okay, now here I am at the 7th scale, at the 7th fret. So here I'm doing fingers 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. So it's 1, 4 on the 6th string and 1, 4 on strings 2 and 1, okay? That's how you play the pentatonic scale. Now someone might say, well, how do you play it in different keys? Well, then you just move it up and down the fretboard. In this case here, because my first finger's on the B, then that makes it a minor pentatonic scale. So if I wanted to play an A minor pentatonic, then I would just put my first finger on the A. Or G, I would go down another whole step. Okay. Now, if I wanted to play it in a major key, here's B minor. If I want to play that in a major key, the only thing I need to do is play the same exact form. What I mean by form is the same exact fingering. But in this case here, instead of starting on the pinky, starting on the first finger, I move the pinky back to that same note and I play the same exact form. That concept took me a little bit to understand because it seemed too easy to me that's it. Okay, so here's minor and here's major and it's the same form. Yeah, it's that easy. Don't make it any harder, right? Let's make it easy. There's plenty of hard stuff in the world. Let's make guitar easy, okay? So there you go. That's the chord progression you would use. So if this were in some other key, then I would just need to move it accordingly. If it was in B major, I just move it down here. If it was in A minor, I would just move it down a whole step. For some of you, you're getting this. For some of it, it's going over your head. You got to get the free ebook, and you've got to get some fundamentals down. Start at the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Start there, And then watch on YouTube, you could just type in YourGuitarSage Pentatonic, and I talk a lot about this stuff, okay? We'll talk a lot about moving that scale around to make it major or minor, okay? Let's get to some questions. Oh, no, not yet. We got to talk about one other thing. We got to talk about, so somebody was saying, how do you make it so smooth? Well, having, our ears are perceiving things, just like taste. Like if you taste something and you're like, this tastes so good, sometimes it's hard to determine, well, why is it that it tastes so good, Like if we're trying to break things down, if you're like, well, how do you play so smooth? Well, let's talk about it. I'm using notes that make your ear happy. Chances are the chord progression makes your ear happy, because if I was playing some candy pop or something like that, and you don't like candy pop, or jazz or something like that, you don't like jazz, then chances are what I'm soloing over the top is not going to please you either. So the chord progression, number one, you like that. It's a well-written chord progression. And then me playing over the top of it, I'm using notes that are not only in the right tonal center, they're in the right key, so major and minor, and I'm also using ones that are appropriate to the sound of that chord progression. So we're used to hearing Pink Floyd as being this, believe it or not, a blues band. That's kind of what they started off as, like blues, and they went into this kind of progressive thing, but they were doing blues, and you listen to David Gilmour, he's all blues, at least when he's soloing, okay? And that's what we're talking about here, soloing. So genre, we need to be able to match up the scale with the chord progression. Safe ones that you can use pretty much in anything: jazz, blues, country, rock, doesn't matter. You can pretty much use the pentatonic scale over anything. Okay, so just make sure you're using it with the right tonal center and you're using major or minor according to your chord progression. If you do that, you're going to be so close to playing exactly what you want to play. You just have to work on your bends and work on your phrasing and work on understanding how the notes sound over the chord progression, because one note's going to sound better over another over certain chords and what have you. And the only way you can figure that out, really, truly, the fun way to figure that out is to sit there with the scale and your chord progression and noodle, 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 okay? Noodle cubed. Just do it over and over again, and you're going to hear, oh, that note sounds really nice. This note doesn't sound as nice. Watch this. I'll show you what I mean by this. I'm going to act as if I'm a new player, so I'm just going to be playing through the scale very sterilely, okay? Sterile, it's going to be sterile. And I'm going to search like I would as a new player for what notes sound good, okay? So my B is always going to sound good because I'm in the key of B here. That's a B. Here's a B. And those just are going to sound nice because it's in that key. See, it wants to resolve to the B every time. You could hear from that, it really wanted to resolve up because the chord progression resolved. And again, if I were to write a book on that, it would be voluminous. It would be the size of an encyclopedia, honestly. It would be very big because there's all different rules, right? Honestly, there's not that many rules. Let me not complicate it. But to write that down is like writing down what it feels like to be in love, or to write down what a strawberry tastes like. Why bother? Just grab a strawberry and eat it. And so you can experience it for yourself, and then you go, oh, okay, I'm getting this. But you got to get in the mind of it, right? You got to get in the mode of it. Like, I really want this, and I'm going after this. And you're listening. You're being intimate with the music, just like you would be with a person. If you're trying to get to know a new friend or a new girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, it's like you're going to be looking into their eyes and hanging on their every word because you want to get to know them more. Do that with music, and all this stuff will blossom for you, really, truly. Okay? So you got to match the genre. So in this case here, I'm using the blues scale because this chord progression just calls for that. Now, how do you know what the chord progression calls for? Well, you can do that by just listening and playing and feeling. And if one scale doesn't sound good, try another scale. Okay? All right, let's get to some questions here, my friends. I love now that, well, it doesn't matter. I love basically what Facebook is doing on my monitor right now, because I can see how many folks are in here and I can see your questions and all that good stuff. And some other folks have joined us recently here. So I'm gonna be getting to these questions right now. So Blaine, Henry, Bob, Simon, Craig, Juan, David. These are all folks on Facebook. I'm also gonna pop over to YouTube really quickly because I think we got some kids there. Yeah, we do. We've got 19 folks over there as well. Okay, so I'm gonna get to some questions. I'm gonna be bouncing back and forth. Listen to me, folks. The chances of me reading your question are going to go way up if you put a question mark. If you don't, I'll assume you're talking amongst each other. Question mark ones, I'm just going to see right away, and I'm going to answer those because I'm looking at a lot of stuff here. Okay, help me out and help me help you by answering your question by putting a question mark. Okay. Okay, so Albert is saying, Albert 505 on YouTube is saying emotional versus technical players. Well, to me, I have no use for technical players. Technical is technical. It is what it is. That's like being technical when you make love, or being technical when you kiss, or technical when you are sculpting. Who wants that? Don't you want emotion? I mean, the whole point of this chord progression, which, by the way, someone asked earlier, what chord progression is that? It's comfortably numb, okay? It's the chord progression for comfortably numb, which is B minor, A major, G, G with a G flat in the bass, E minor, and then back to B minor, if you want to play that one, okay? So, emotional, right? We want to be emotional. That's the whole point about music. That's why we gravitate towards it, and that's why we listen to it, is because it evokes emotion. So, for sure, every single time, to me, emotional over the other. Technical. I don't even care about the other, okay? Now, what I mean by that, too, though, is, I mean, we're talking about some technical things here. We're talking about theory and stuff. So it's important to know that when you're kissing somebody, you don't kiss them smack on the forehead or on the earlobe, or you might, but typically you kiss on the lips. So there are some technical things that we need to know about kissing or making love or playing guitar, whatever it is, okay? Just understand what I'm trying to say here. There are bits and pieces that we got to know, but then after that, it's about intimacy, and it's about getting to know your scales, the person who you're with, whatever it is, okay? Give me your website address. It's YourGuitarSage.com. Someone asked me, can you give me some soloing tips? Yeah, we're doing it right now. We're doing it right now, my friend. Okay, I'm popping over to Facebook, and I'm going to be going back and forth between these two. And actually, let me make sure that I've exhausted anything with, oh, here's one with a question mark. How do you use scales over chord progressions like a professional guitarist? That's what we're talking about today, random. And yeah, you are really good, very good. Didn't expect that. Thank you. What did you expect? I guess some people expect guitar teachers to always suck. And it's just not true. They don't always suck. And I don't feel like I'm an amazing guitar player. I feel like I'm a pretty good teacher. And as a guitar player, you always want to be better. So I never feel like I'm at where I should be at on guitar. Okay, any songwriting tips? How to choose a chord progression? So Nicholas, same thing. When choosing a chord progression, it's like choosing, you're choosing a progression of chords. Like, how do they progress? So what's the first chord? Start off with a chord that you like. If you want it to be in a minor key, start with a minor chord. If you want it to be in a major key, start with a major chord. How are you feeling? Chances are if you're feeling sad, you're going to grab a minor chord right off the bat, or that's the sound that's going to resonate with you most. At least it does with me. Some people, they can still write some great sad songs in a major key, which is very talented, and I think that's cool. So, but me, I love minor keys. I love classical music, which is a lot of that's minor. Just love it, love it, love it. So, play a chord, find a chord after it that you like, and go do that route. So you just, if you like one chord and then you don't like the next chord, try another chord. You know, 1, minor 6, 4, and 5 are the 4 chords that if you just use in fact, this chord progression here starts as, this is minor 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 minor, 6 minor. So this has a 6, minor 6, a 4, and a 5 in it, and it's got a minor 2 in it. But those, you know, the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord are the 1, 4, 5, and minor 6 are the most powerful chords in music, and you hear them all the time. If you were to take 1,000 hit songs that have ever been written, I guarantee you that 1,000 of them will contain the 1 chord. 1,000 or 990 of them will contain the 1 and the 5. 900 of them will contain the 1, the 4, and the 5, and 800 of them will contain the 1, the 4, and the 5, and the minor 6 in some form or fashion. So what I mean by that is you're just going to hear them a lot because they just work, okay? There's a reason why people do certain things. So anyhow, so understand that the 1, the 4, and the 5, and the minor 6 are the chords that work best together. If that is over your head, check out my video on YouTube about the Nashville number system. If you are already in the Unstoppable guitar system, I have a whole module set aside for understanding this concept. Not just one video, but it's a whole class. It's a whole series, okay? So check that out. If you're new to guitar, check out YourGuitarSage.com/30 because you got to get these basics down before you can get the heavy stuff down, okay? What's the difference between a mode from a scale? There's really no difference. A mode is a scale. Modes are known as derivatives of the scales. So instead of playing the scale from 1 to 1, you'd play it from 2 to 2. Now that doesn't sound too strange to you there, but in context along with a chord progression, it would sound much different, okay? What scale to use over chords that don't fit any in the key of a song, as in E7 chord in the key of C? Okay, great question. So Peter's saying, what scale to use over chords that don't fit into the key of a song, as in an E7 in the key of C? So normally in the key of C, so this is a great high-end question here from Peter. So what he's saying here, this is on Facebook, by the way, and I'll be bouncing over to YouTube, friends, so just hold on there. So Peter's saying, you know, the key of C has an E minor in it, right? We have C major, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished. Those are the natural chords that appear because of the major scale. Don't get scared about this stuff, guys. You don't have to know this, but knowledge is power, and the more you know, the better you'll be able to compose and what have you. So this is all about the Nashville number system and understanding how the scales create the chords. I have tons of videos for these on YouTube. You just got to subscribe and follow and search, okay? Or start at the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. It's in the description. Okay, so C, in the key of C, the E is minor. It's not major. So an E7 is a major chord. It's an E chord. It's major, but it's also a 7th. So Peter's saying, well, how do you know what scales to use over that? This is what I want you to think about, Peter. I've thought both ways. I've thought like a jazz player and I've thought like a rock player. And rock player makes so much more sense to me. No offense, jazz players. And in fact, I don't play much jazz. So if I was playing jazz, I probably would think more like a jazz player. But the way I think is this. When a chord happens that's outside of the scale, or outside of your natural diatonic chords, you say, what's the note that's different? Because if you think about this, here's an E minor, right? Here's an E major. The only difference is right here, this G is not natural, it's sharp, right? So when that chord comes around, Peter, instead of playing a G natural, you should always play the G sharp, and then it's going to sound good. So don't think a whole nother scale. Think the key of C, but instead of playing the G natural, play it sharp, because that's the only note that chord is changing. Okay, now hopefully you got that, because if you have, it's going to really add some power to your playing, and you don't have to think all these different scales. Because here's the deal: when you go to that chord, you don't have time to play a whole scale, chances are. You just have that one lick. So stay in the same key as C, but instead of the G natural, play the G sharp, and it's going to sound like you know what you're talking about. Okay, and that's how I think about everything when I'm playing. Because basically what we're doing is we're temporarily changing keys just for a minute second. It's kind of like if I'm sitting here talking about cars, and then all of a sudden I start talking about sharks. It'd be really weird to do in a guitar lesson, but if my guitar looked like a shark, or it had some crazy thing at the top that looked like a fin, it might make sense. If I'm just talking about shark cartilage, that'd be weird. So understand that we can do these temporary shifts in our music where we temporarily change the key for one chord or two chords, but typically we got to get right back to the other key. Otherwise we are saying to the audience, no, we're changing keys now. And if you do that, you're going to start losing the listener's ear. So it's called the borrowed chord, what you're talking about there, by the way. Okay, Kevin Mooney from Facebook. I learned the pentatonic scale in A minor. When I try to switch to another scale, I end up going back into the A minor when I move up the neck. How can I avoid this? Kevin, you'll have to expound on that, because I don't know what you mean by when you try to switch to another scale. Are you saying you try to switch to like minor or something? Because if you do, let's assume that's what you mean. So if you're saying I'm in the pentatonic, and then you try to switch to another scale, but you keep gravitating back to pentatonic, the reason you're doing that is, number one, it sounds so good. Also, probably it fits under your fingers well. But Kevin, you have to, in your mind, say, don't play pentatonic, don't play pentatonic, don't play pentatonic, don't play pentatonic, until you stop playing pentatonic. You have to catch yourself in the moment, and then you have to say, stop doing that, stick to this scale. So it might be good to just take one portion of the neck, because if you're trying to jump around the neck a lot, it could be that you're gravitating towards pentatonic because you know that one so well, you know. Kevin saying, if you're playing, say, drop D, does this change your scale? It doesn't change your scale, Kevin, but it will change the way the scale looks on the fretboard, right? So if I'm playing pentatonic, A minor pentatonic, if I drop this down one whole step, I can't do that. I have to think, now that I dropped this scale one whole step, I have to play that scale, that string up one whole step. So make sense? Okay, so okay, you love the CD, Kevin's saying. Great, thanks so much. What about a turnaround? What's a turnaround? A turnaround is like in blues. It's that part of the song that turns around, that's right before, it's at the end of the chord progression that says, hey, everybody, here we go. We're coming to the top of the chord progression again. It's a great little bit that musicians use to say, okay, this is where we're at if they get lost. And it's also just there for sounds nice. Can you use same scale patterns if you use alternate tunings, for example, drop D? Right. So I just answered that one. Yes, you can use the same exact scales, but they're going to be different fingering. So whatever you adjust, any tunings that you adjust, you're going to have to adjust on the string. If you're tuning something down a whole step, then that string will have to be played one whole step up in order for it to match, because you're dropping it down a whole step. Make sense? Okay, 1, 4, 5, 6, and sharp 1 would be the key. Note. I'm not sure how to answer your question, because I don't understand what you're asking there, Ron. But if you're saying a chord progression has a 1, a 4, a 5, and a 6, probably a minor 6 you're saying, and a sharp 1. So how that would sound would be like, let's see. That's the chord progression. That's kind of strange. Number one, because the 6 is outside the scale. It would be a borrowed chord. So if you're talking minor, then it would be 1, 4, 5, minor 6, and then that's your sharp 1. But it depends on the context of it. But same as what I mentioned to Peter the other day, or just the other day, just a few moments ago, is when that sharp 1 chord comes around, it's falling outside the key. So you just treat that 1 chord as if it's outside the key, and in that case then you would just bring your whole scale up 1 whole step, because everything, the 1, the 4, or the 1, the 3, and the 5 notes from that chord have moved up a half step, so you're going to have to do the same. Are you saying, Randy's saying, are you saying that if the tune is in a major key, the major pentatonic is the scale to use and not the minor pentatonic? Correct, Randy. Yes, that is correct. Now, you could, like if you're using minor pentatonic, you're using major as well. It's just how you're using the scale. So for instance, C major pentatonic is the same as A minor pentatonic, but I'm just starting it and ending it at a different note, okay? But technically they have the same exact notes in them. So it's the same scale. But yes, technically speaking, if it's a major key, you should be using the major pentatonic scale over the top of it. Okay, B minor 7, maybe. I'm not sure. I can't answer that, Elizabeth, because I don't know what that means. Okay, sharp 1 in this case, I think he means number 1, not sharp 1, but number 1 is the root. Yeah, 100%. Yes. If that's what you're saying, then yes, the 1 would be the root. The 1 is always the root, okay? Unless you're playing in a minor key, and then you can either call that the minor 1, or better yet, here in Nashville, everybody says it's the 6 is the tonal center. It's the minor key. So much easier to remember everything by that. Okay. Okay. I'm bouncing over to YouTube. My poor YouTube friends. They're sad over here. So I'm bouncing over to YouTube, and we're going to be getting to some questions there, okay? So here we go. What is your Facebook username? It's YourGuitarSage. So you can just go to facebook.com/YourGuitarSage. But now that I'm over here, I'll answer them for you. Okay, so what are double stops? Double stops are when you play 2 notes at the same time, like this. So I did that. So when I was playing this, right? So it's 2 notes at the same time. Double stop, 2 notes at the same time. Triads is typically referring to chords, the 1, the 3, and the 5. So if we're playing like major triads, that's what a major triad looks like. Minor would look like diminished. I have videos on this. I'm pretty sure on YouTube. Just type in YourGuitarSage triads, okay? Do I have an Instagram? I do. It's instagram.com/YourGuitarSage. Big fan of your Udemy classes. Yay, fantastic. So folks, I've got lots of lessons for you for free. I've got a free course on Udemy as well. Or go to YourGuitarSage.com/30. Okay, that's another course that I have. But lots of free stuff for you, friends. If you're looking to play guitar, no BS, lots of free stuff. I give stuff away all the time. People say, well, how do you do that? Well, because I've got a good business and I've got people that do buy stuff from me. And those are the folks that want the higher end stuff, the cream of the crop stuff, right? And that's fine, and I have that. Obviously, I got to charge something for it. Otherwise, I would have to go back to working behind a desk and not teaching you for free here, right now. So as part of, it's called commerce, and you got to make money on something. If you don't understand that concept yet, then you're probably not old enough to understand that concept, but you will. And everybody you gotta buy stuff, right? So, but I got tons of free stuff for you. Major chord. I always start with the major. Okay, good. Okay. 1, 4, 5, minor 6, powerful. Yeah, totally agree with you. Thanks, bud. Yeah, so it's not just me. These are concepts that are not negotiable. They're just fact, you know. It's not like going to YouTube and listening to people's political drivel that's not factual typically. These are facts. These are just music. It's math, you know. Moved over to YouTube, less lag than Facebook. Okay, thanks for letting us know. I have a question. This is on YouTube. I play most of my riffs in minor pentatonic, minor blues pentatonic, positions 1, 2, and 5. This is when I am practicing 12-bar blues. Do you have any tips for learning major pentatonic to use? Do I have any tips for learning major pentatonic to use? Yes. The blues are great for playing major pentatonic. And even though it sounds not like, you sound like me in that the minor pentatonic just sounds better to you. So when I go to play a major pentatonic, when I'm playing blues, to me it doesn't have the same sound, that sad sound, right, that we just heard with Comfortably Numb. It just doesn't have that sound. And I gravitate towards that. I don't know why. I do. Maybe I'm just a sad sap. I don't know. But nonetheless, it's what resonates with me. So when I go to play major sounding blues or major keyed blues, it doesn't sound like I want it to sound. But with that being said, your tonal center's changing, you know. I mean, your tonal center's not changing, but the note that is your tonal center changes on the fretboard on some of them. So if I'm playing in the key of A, so I could use a minor pentatonic. That's our 1 right there. But here's our 1 if I'm playing major. You know what I mean? So it's not going to feel the same. In fact, what I just did there was kind of going into a minor blues lick, and it just didn't sound right because of the way the 1 is going to be here on your first finger instead of on the 3rd string instead of your ring finger on the 4th string. You know, so it's in a different place. So that was for me the number one thing I had to get used to when playing major blues. The other thing is like for me to just like play in major blues is one thing, and then to switch to minor blues is another thing. But to kind of going back and forth between the two, like throwing in a major note every now and then, to me is the best of both worlds, because I could be playing. That's a terrible example. That's a lick, you know, just your little, because here's minor, here's major. So you can throw that note in there along with like a trill. You can use it. Really, the everything's going to be the same about the scale except the notes that you emphasize. And if you're heavily reliant on the way the scale feels, then I would suggest to you just playing major blues for some time, maybe like a week or 2 weeks or a month or a year, I don't know, however long it takes you to get the feel of that, and then shift back over to minor, and then you can start dabbling with both of them at the same time. Okay, still here on YouTube. What are the most important scales to learn on guitar? Here they are. You ready? Major scale, because you need this for music theory. You need it for understanding how the chords are built and all the rest, okay? Really important. By the way, folks, I'm doing a giveaway, so if you share this video, share it. I'm going to be doing 2 giveaways. I'm going to be giving away a DVD and a CD. I'm going to be mailing that out to some lucky winner, and then I'll also be doing an ebook bundle, okay? That's got a lot of good stuff, okay? You can check out my website. I won't go into the details. Major scale. You got to know the major scale because, and I teach this in the free course, it's in the description of this video, YourGuitarSage.com/30. You got to know the major scale because it it's basically the blueprint of all music. All music. Blues, I don't care what it is. And when I say all music, I mean Western music. The music that you hear, even when you're in the East, when you go to, the stuff I'm not talking about is like Aboriginal music. If you're in the outback of Australia and you're with the Aborigines by a fire, probably not going to be the major scale that they're using, okay? Or in some places in India where they have quarter tones and stuff like that. But every place else, it's the major scale. Whether you're in a minor key, jazz, blues, doesn't matter. It's all based off of the major scale. The blues scale, when we say the flat 5, that's the flat 5 note. Now someone might say, but that's the 4th note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, this is the 5, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. They might say, well, that's a flat 4. No, because you don't use the pentatonic or the blues scale. You use the major scale. This is why the major scale is so important. So the major scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that note is the flat 5. So important to know the major scale to understand music theory and everything about music. Know the major scale. Pentatonic scale is the next one I'd say to know, because the notes in it are very choice. They're easy to play. They sound great, and you'll easily be able to jump into any key in just about any genre and sound like you know what you're talking about and doing. Okay. What are the most? Okay, we said that one. Okay. Still on Facebook. I don't know much theory. I find myself liking a chord, looking up the chords in the key of that chord, then looking up the notes on the neck that fit the key. Is there a faster way to do this? Shane, yes, there is a faster way to do it, but you have to understand the construction of music. Okay, listen to me for just one moment. Shane, everybody. There are certain things that you can do shortcuts on in life, and I give you the shortest cut that you can get without skipping any steps, if that makes sense. You can't skip steps. So the shortcuts would be, okay, learn this, but don't learn this. And this is exactly how I teach, okay? Or I might say, learn this now, we'll learn this later, because everything's important, right? But some things are more important today. So there's some basics it sounds like you don't know, Shane. Go to the free course. I'm telling you, anybody who's listening to me right now, if you haven't gotten that free course, do it, because it's going to build your foundation and the light goes on. I get hundreds of emails every week from folks that are like, oh my God, I understand it now. And I want to say to you, from your mouth to the rest of the world, because it's so important that everybody else understands this. Start there. YourGuitarSage.com/30 with those free 30 videos, because I build this foundation for you. You will understand how that major scale works. And yeah, you don't know much theory. You got to know some theory, And I have a video on what theory to know on YouTube as well. So yeah, because what I'm going to show you is you're going to be able to listen to it, pull up a song, and know what key you're in immediately. Okay, but you have to know some things to do that. Okay, and I teach that in all my vids. Which guitar am I playing on? I'm giving this away, Kurian. I'm giving this away. This is my personal custom shop Fender Stratocaster. It's a classic 50s with custom hand wound pickups in it. I love Fender's pickups, but wanted one that was closer to my 65, which is not here right now. It's in storage because I went out of town, and I do not like keeping my guitars here when I go out of town. So it's in storage. So there you go. And I'm giving this baby away on November the 4th. Anybody who wants to win this guitar and thousands of dollars worth of other stuff, I lie to you not, go to YourGuitarSage.com/live. It's in the description of this video, and it will not only get you into the live broadcast on November the 4th, but it will also put you into the running for all the great stuff that we're going to be giving away. This guitar, we're going to be giving away lifetime memberships to the Unstoppable Guitar System, all sorts of really good stuff. Okay, perhaps I missed this, but why is the 6th minor? Okay, Tom, because, man, that's a really deep question that really there's not an answer to, other than we can say why the chord is minor. It's because it doesn't have a major third in it. It has a minor third in it, but that's probably not the answer you're looking for. The chords are made up of notes within the scales, okay? And it would take about a 30-minute explanation for me to get into that right now without you knowing everything. But I'll give you an example. You might be able to pick it up from this. If you take the 1, the 3, and the 5, from every single note in the scale, you get a chord. So if I take, here's G major. If I take the 1, the 3, and the 5, I get a major chord. If I go to the 2 now, and I'm going to do the 1, 3, 5 again, or we could call it 2, 4, 6, however you want to do it. These are numbers of the scale, super easy. You just got to know the scale. I give it to you in the free course. So here's 2, 4, 6. And look, that's a minor chord. This would be major, but this is minor. If you don't understand why that's minor, there's some holes we got to fill up with that course, okay? But essentially, a minor chord is a 1 flat 3 5, and a major chord is a 1 3 5. Okay, good. Okay, that is a Fender Strat. This is a Fender Strat. It is a custom shop. I'm giving it away November 4th. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Knight. So someone's saying here, I'm following Knight. Knight is saying, this is on YouTube, I'm following the free course too, between you and Justin Sanderco, a great lad, buddy that I talk to every now and then. We did an interview, actually. He interviewed me the other day for his, I say the other day, it's been some time, for his podcast, but good guy and a great teacher. I love that guy, Justin Sanderco. Look him up if you don't know him. You're both awesome teachers and explain things that most online teachers don't have the ability to. Wish you were in the UK. Oh, thanks. Thank you so much, my friend. Okay, bouncing back over to Facebook, since these kids have been neglected. What is meant by choking the chord? Kevin's saying. So to choke a chord would be like, like a... That's choking the chord. It's when basically your hand is muting the strings and you get that kind of percussive type sound to it, okay? On YouTube, search YourGuitarSage muting, and I have left and right hand muting, but this would be what I call left hand muting or fret hand muting. Bob's saying, just starting to play again after a 50-year layoff. That's a long time, my friend. You have become my favorite YouTube teacher. Thank you for doing all the free lessons. Lots to learn, but at 64, it's a slow journey. Thanks again. Bob, I got news for you. At 64, it's a slow journey. At any age, it's a slow journey. And I say slow, it just depends on what you think about as slow. If you think about this, no other way to say it, but my buddy Jason uses this example all the time. Says if you're trying to get to know somebody, you don't just like fondle them, okay? Unless you're this guy that just got accused, what's his name? Weinstein. You don't just fondle somebody. You get to know them. You get to like them. You get them to like you. Like there's a whole dance, okay, in the whole animal kingdom, okay? Human animal is no different, okay? And my point is this, is that anything worthwhile takes some time, but if you get to enjoying the dance, if you get to enjoying the ride to wherever you're going, and not be like, I got to get there. Well, you're never going to get there because you're always, the goalpost is always moving. So for me, I've never gotten to where I wanted to be on the guitar, and will probably never get there because I constantly want to be better, right? So that happens. So just enjoy the process, though, and really at any age, it's challenging, but it can be fun too, right? So, but I'm glad you're here, Bob, and thank you for the super kind words. I really appreciate that. If I ever win the lottery, I want to spend a week learning from you in person. Oh, thanks so much, Ron. Better yet, guys, listen, I know everybody wants to learn from me in person, but I promise you, you're not going to learn anything different coming to me here in Nashville than watching my free course. I swear to you. Those are the first 30 lessons that I teach all my students. And it's in the same studio. I'll be using the same guitars, same voice, same head. Everything is going to be the same. And I would teach it no differently than if you were sitting right in front of me. The only difference is that you'd be able to ask questions, okay? And here's the deal. In my courses, even the free course, you can ask questions till your heart's content. That's what I do every single day is I wake up in the morning, I answer those questions. So take advantage of that. Get in the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Link for that is in the description of this video. Okay. Also, go to YourGuitarSage.com/live if you want to enter to win the guitar. Okay. Is there a theory or rule so this is Brian saying, is there a theory or rule to add walk-ups or walk-down to next chord in chosen progression? For example, does the walk-up notes have to be part of the chord walking to or the chord coming from? Does this make sense? Yes, it makes total sense, Brian, and it's a great question. So like a walk-up chord would be like if we were going to so in this case here I got a major chord, a diminished chord, a minor chord, and then a seventh chord. But nonetheless, if I'm walking up, what you can do a lot of times is you can just play that individual note. There is no rule to this, okay? It doesn't have to be part of a chord, doesn't have to be part of the chord progression. It's going to sound a little wonky at first, but you can adjust that by adjusting the note or how long you're staying on the note or maybe what you're doing before or after that note. So an example would be, let's see. So you might have missed it, but there was a note that's outside the scale there. Let's see. So that note's not in the scale. So that's the theme song for James Bond, right? 007. So that note's not in there, but it goes in there and it works fine. And this song that I wrote, this does this. You know, so no exact rule, you know. Can you give an example of mixing lead with rhythm like the 12-bar blues progression? Juan is saying. Yeah, so what we could do here is like go... So here's what you could do is you just hit a chord, and you got to be able to know when that next chord's coming around. The way that I got closer to doing what you're talking about here is to just hit the chord. I just kind of like scattered. And then I said, like, okay, so like 1, 2, 3. I got 4 beats basically. So you can just do like that. Every 4 beats, hit your chord. That's a great way to do it. Is there a theory or rule to add walk-ups? Okay, we got that one, right? Okay, been studying the major scale, understand the patterns and associations on the fretboard, springboard, and movable springs. The light came on. Yay! Ron got it, right? YourGuitarSage.com/30. Go through that course. I cannot tell you enough how important it is. Just purchased Ultimate Guitar System 2 days ago. I've hardly put my guitar down since. Wonderful. Thank you, John. Fantastic. And John, I know I've got a book called The Ultimate Guitar Book, basically, but you probably mean the Unstoppable Guitar System. And I know that's easy to get mixed up, especially with Ultimate Guitar, right? So Unstoppable Guitar System is the actual name. But John, thank you so much for letting me know that. Yay, I'm so happy. Okay, Adonis is saying, I've plateaued. This is on Facebook. I've plateaued in my guitar playing after 7 years at an intermediate level. I feel like it's because I can't read music or have a basic understanding of guitar theory. Do you think those things are essentials to progressing past an intermediate level? Adonis, I would say that theory most certainly is. Reading music is great if you read music, okay? Otherwise, to just learn it isn't really going to help you. If it's something you're going to be doing a lot of, then yes. Or not even a lot of, just some. It's very, very helpful. But if you don't use it, you lose it. That's how it works with reading music. There is anybody who's good at reading music is only good at reading music because they've done it a lot. It's just like anything on the guitar, right? I used to have a girlfriend who played in the Nashville Symphony, and she's a violin player, and I was toiling over Bark at the Moon one day, and I was reading the tab, and I just, for kicks and giggles, I'm like, hey, come over here, can you read this? And she sat there and read it and just did that run. And I was like, jeez, you know what I mean? And that has to do with reading and being really good at reading. So it's very fulfilling to read. But at the same time, I don't think that reading music is gonna do that for you. But the theory part is good. Also, Adonis, it's good to have some sort of plan. I mean, that's why in the Unstoppable Guitar System, I have over 500 videos in there, maybe 500 and something, almost 600. And that's not including the whole 365 guitar that we're getting ready to unleash, which is like a whole nother 365 videos. So nonetheless, being in a program that is going to keep you on course where you're doing step by step is honestly the answer. So that's what I would highly suggest doing. Or if you have a guitar teacher, a great guitar teacher. My buddy Chris Bandusky just joined us there on Facebook. Chris is a great guitar player and a good, all-around good guy. All right, bouncing back over to YouTube. I started at 55, now 57. I found out there are no shortcuts. Indeed, there are no shortcuts. It's like algebra. I should be really good at algebra because I took it 5 times in college before I finally passed it. But the reason that I kept failing it is, number one, I was so immersed in my music I didn't care, but it cost a lot of money. But just a big waste of money. Terrible, terrible waste of money. Anyhow, if you skip steps in playing guitar, there's going to be holes. And in music, and it's built on principles. They build on each other, okay? Can you just pick up the guitar and go? Yeah, you can. And people use that all the time. They're like, Hendrix didn't know any music theory. Bull crap. There's no musician who's great that didn't know music theory, okay? They may not have known the labels that we're applying, but they knew the patterns. They knew the patterns. So there's no way to get away from music theory. People say all the time, oh, if I learn music theory, I'm gonna become sterile and this and that, and I'm not gonna be able to be a good player and have emotion. That's bull crap. That's like saying I'm not gonna be a good driver if I don't learn the rules of the road. What? No. You mean you stay in your lane? You better stay in your lane, but you can still be a good driver. You can still be a great driver. Okay. There are rules to driving sports cars, right? So but you still got to follow the rules, right? So there are no shortcuts, as Mike said. There are tricks. There are things to know that will help you get there quicker, but you still have to practice them. You know, I've never understood keys, like when something is in the key of something. Captain Pineapple, I love that name. Watch the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. That'll start getting you there. Hey, Eric, how do you play bar chords? On YouTube, type in Your Guitar Sage bar chords because I have a whole series on it there. It's a 2-part series. If you're in the Unstoppable Guitar System already, I have a whole massive series for you on how to do that, okay? All right. What does Siri want? Get off me. Get off me, Siri. Okay. Been following you forever. Sounded creepy. Sorry, but dude, you are awesome. That doesn't sound creepy at all. Thank you so much, Jeff. I have thoughts on the cage system. Question mark. Any thoughts on the cage system? Oh, I find that it's helping me understand the guitar's layout, which is not as obvious as the layout of a keyboard. Yes, you're 100% right, different name. Cage system. On YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage Caged to understand how to play chords all over the neck. So if you have a C chord here, some people say, well, that's not a C chord, this is a C chord. Yeah, it is. So is this. So is this. And this. And this. And this. And this. These are all C chords. So we can play them all over the neck, and the cage system allows you to do that with 5 simple open chord shapes. C major, A major, G major, E major, D major. And you can take those chords, those forms, and use them with the tonic that you're looking for, in this case C, all over the neck. So here's C major, C major, C major, C major, C major. Very helpful for understanding your chords all over the neck. Thank you for adding that different name. It's a smart bit, caged. And in fact, if you want to understand how to use the caged system with major chords, with minor chords, with 7th chords, with minor 7th chords, the whole 9 yards, check out the Unstoppable Guitar System. The link for that's also in the description of this video. That will, because I have videos for that on how to understand those other chords, not just the major chords. Okay. All right, how to solo, using scale. Try using scales for solo, but it doesn't really sound like a solo, and really am frustrated. So what are your tips regarding this? Big Giga, that's what this whole video is about. So watch that from the beginning, because we'd have to start from right here, or we'd have to start at the beginning, which we've been here for about 1 hour and 20 minutes. So watch this video when we're done, okay? It will help you a lot. Thank you so much, David, for the kind words. A video a day, that sounds good. Okay, student loans are paid off, Jeff. Thank you, buddy. Okay, best guitar teacher. Thank you so much, my friends. All right, I'm gonna jump back over to Facebook, and then we're gonna be ending here pretty soon, okay? Because I have videos to make for you, other videos to make, and a lot of other things to do to get ready for this big broadcast on November 4th. So we'll be heading out here in just a moment. Someone's asking, how often do I stream? Here on YouTube and Facebook, I typically stream once a week, sometimes more than that. I didn't last week because I was in Florida, but typically once a week on Thursdays at 11 a.m. So either put it in your calendar or hit the little reminder. There is a little, let me see if I can see this on the page right now. On YouTube, there is a place for getting, no, I don't want to flag the video. I think I just flagged my own video. No, don't flag it. There is a way to do it. Basically, there's like a little bell or something, and if you hit that, then it will let you know when I'm going live. Okay, I'm gonna have new videos and all that good stuff. But typically once a week on those days, and then typically once a month we have a big one where I'm giving guitars away and amps and all sorts of fun stuff. So YourGuitarSage.com/live. Check that out. Okay, what's up, Chris? Okay, I've always had an issue with improvising and noodling. Have you done any videos, or do you have any tips on how to practice that? Scott, I have a ton of videos on that. A ton of free ones on YouTube. You're going to have to learn how to search there on YouTube, though. Type in YourGuitarSage Blues, YourGuitarSage Improvisation, YourGuitarSage Pentatonic, YourGuitarSage Soloing. You're going to have to do a little looking around there, but definitely I've got tons of stuff on that. Inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, I have step by step. I mean, if you've never picked up a guitar before, I will take you from never having picked up a guitar before to being literally having the ability to be a pro player. No joke. tons of videos there, step by step, walking you through every little bit of it. So I definitely have a lot of that stuff. And noodling, so if you just type in YourGuitarSage noodling, you'll probably find my chord noodling videos where I'm talking about you know, how to play notes within the chords or in the scale while you're playing your chords. But with that being said, it's still the same bit, right? Same bits. Okay, here we go. More. I found that by studying music, reading notes, and learning piano, and learning all the notes across the guitars, Erich suggests I have a head full of knowledge and apply daily. So practice, rest, and then jam and apply. Good. Great. Unstoppable Guitar System. John got in there. Nice. Thank you so much. Click the bell on YouTube. Thank you, Blaine. Enjoying the book on how to read music. Perfect. Popping back over to YouTube, and then we're gonna head out. What strings do I prefer? Right now I'm using D'Addario on my electrics or GHS boomers, and on my acoustics I use Vibe strings. Okay. Okay, I just got your free PDF. Thank you for those too. I love you give away stuff and don't seem greedy. Thank you so much, Jeff. I love giving stuff away, faux show. It's so fun. And, you know, the reason I do that is because I've had so many people ask me so many questions, and I like folks to get answers. I hate when I see someone getting stuck, and they, you know, and so like, why not do that, right? Why not spread some love and give people a bunch of free stuff? So I can't give everything away because I mean, this is my life. I spend all my energy, everything. This is my life, just like whatever your job is, however many hours you spend on it. I mean, there's nights where I've woken up at 6 a.m. and went to bed at 2 a.m. because I was literally working so much on all this stuff. So no pity party. I just love it. And obviously, I couldn't do that if I wasn't getting paid in some way or another. All right. How do people arrange their own arrangement of songs, mostly fingerstyles, literally just with ear, or there's some music theory to it? There's some music theory to it for sure, because, you know, you might move to a different place on the neck and you got to know, well, where is that chord? Where are those notes? So there's definitely theory that's applied to it, but technically you wouldn't need that if your ear, if you were aggressive enough to want to create a new arrangement and you're just using your ear, you could do that. But music theory helps out a ton. Okay, so with that being said, it's like driving a car around with bald tires. Are you going to be better in a race with good tires or bald tires? With good tires. You could use bald tires all day long. You could do it. All right, my friends, lighter strings will compensate, Blaine, a little bit. Yes, they will, but they're not good on acoustic because a lot of times they'll put it out of tune. I would suggest taking your guitar to a luthier and have them bring the nut and or the bridge down to be right in the place that it should be. Make sure that the oh my God, I forgot the name of it. The tension bar that's within the neck. Make sure that is adjusted as well. Okay. That's not the name of it. It's not a tension bar. Truss rod. Okay, my friends, a couple last things before we go. I'm giving this guitar away. Do you want this guitar? I want it. It was funny. I told my buddy Jason that I'm going to give him my guitar away. This guitar, let me tell you about it really quickly. This guitar was to replace my 1965 Strat that I don't love to play out live because it's a very, very expensive guitar. And it's pretty irreplaceable, at least for the money it is, right? So I said, I really need another player to play out live. I'm not playing out live right now. I'm not in a band, so I love giving stuff away. So I said, I'm giving this away. And then after I started making a bunch of videos and stuff, I realized, oh, this is not only a classic 50s player with custom wound pickups that I forget all this stuff about my guitars, but my guitar tech said, oh, remember we got those custom wound pickups in there. I'm like, oh yeah. This is also a custom shop guitar. What's a custom shop guitar? It's a custom shop guitar is created by the folks at Fender, like the top guys. Okay, they pick choice woods and they spend a lot of extra time with creating a race car guitar, and that's exactly what this thing is. The intonation, the sound, everything is absolutely impeccable. So I'm giving this guitar away. I'd love to give it away to you. How do you enter? Go to yourguitarsage.com/live. The description for that, the link for that's in the description of this video. Don't forget to do it now. Click it now so you can open up another tab, and don't forget to do it. Okay? unless you just don't like getting free stuff. And we're not just giving this away, we're giving away, there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 winners when we do these, 10 to 20 winners. Not of this guitar, one winner of this guitar, and then we're going to give away several lifetime memberships to the Unstoppable Guitar System. If you'd like to take a test drive of that, go to YourGuitarSage.com/30. Link for that's in the description of this video too. Go there, check that out. I'm going to be giving away lifetime memberships to that whole course. Like I said, there's over 500 videos in there, close to 600 right now, not including 365 other videos that are going to be released soon, and over 500 jam tracks that I've painstakingly created, and a bazillion other things in there, okay? Giving away lifetime memberships to that. Going to be giving lots of books away, ebook bundles, giving those away. I'm going to be giving away guitar packs that are going to include strings and picks and capos, a bunch of other stuff, tuners, okay, whole 9 yards. Okay, so in order to get to there, go to YourGuitarSage.com/live, and the last thing is the free course. Friends, if you have questions about the guitar, sometimes they cannot be answered, even in a, what are we here, hour and a half lesson. They're just too voluminous to understand in one lesson. So, but I want to get you there, and I promise you it's not hard. If I got there, I'm not a super smart guy, in my opinion. So be that as it may, I can play guitar, and I've learned this stuff, and it's not hard. Okay, so you can learn it, but you just got to learn it step by step. Doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, if you've got a finger that's broken off, or I mean, none of that stuff matters. I promise you. And I've got an answer for every single one of you. I've seen guys playing guitar with their feet who had no arms. So if you're bitching about a little finger that's deformed, like my hand is deformed right here, you can see my pinky. Bam, see how it's bent like that? That guy's bent. This guy's bent. Deformed, this guy's bent, massive arthritis in both of my hands. This hand's been bit by a 150-pound Rottweiler, along with my dog, Kirby, who's no longer with us, not because of that, because she died of old age. But this hand's been through hell and back. Okay, this hand's been through hell and back as well, but specifically, this has had some trauma to it. So you can play guitar. It's just a choice. Do you want to get good, or do you don't want to get good? If you want to get good, stick with me. I've got a ton of free stuff for you. And if you get beyond that, I got a ton of free stuff for you as well. Otherwise, I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here today. You guys are great. Thank you for taking the time. We still got tons of folks on YouTube and tons of folks on Facebook, so that's pretty awesome. Thank you so much for everything. Please let me know how I can help you. You guys are my folks. You make me happy. I love doing this for a living. So I'm out of here, and